Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of The Daily. It's Friday, November 4th here with Jason Saghini. I'm Nick Firchau. Jay, we're taking a look back at the Eastern and Western Conference semifinal wrap-ups from Thursday night. Let's start with the Western Conference. A big win for the LA Galaxy, 2-1 over the New York Red Bulls. They win 3-1 on aggregate.
Yeah, after the game started, Luke Rogers scored a very early goal, and you thought this was going to be an open game. It was even right from the start. Once Rogers scored, it was 1-1 on aggregate, but the Galaxy proved too strong in the end.
Well, our very own Jonah Freedman was on the spot at the Home Depot Center.
Red Bulls talked all week about how they're going to have to come out from the very get-go and push for that equalizing goal, and sure enough, they did. They came out from the opening whistle, all guns a-blazing. Luke Rogers finishes off a gorgeous through ball from Thierry Henry. Red Bulls looked like they might have a little momentum in this one, but they started to slow down a bit, especially in the 16th minute. Timo Tainio comes up with a hamstring injury. Hans Backe is forced to replace him, and at that point, you're missing Marquez, you're missing Tainio. Backe said that was just too tough a mountain to climb. The Galaxy were showing signs of life before the substitution. Mike McGee said that goal got them angry. It lit a fire underneath them. Towards the end of the first half, David Beckham hits a corner kick. Mike McGee heads it in. We're level again. Galaxy back up on aggregate. Beckham was huge in the midfield all night, even though it looked like he might have to come off with an injury in the first half. Looked like he might have re-injured his back, but he stayed in the game. Late in the second half, drew the penalty that Landon Donovan converted to put the game away. Donovan said there was no way Beckham was coming out of that game no matter what. And when it comes to Beckham's availability for Sunday's Western Conference Championship, Bruce Arena joked, win or lose, we have a couple weeks off after that game, so we'll figure out a way to get him out there.
Thanks, Jonah, and obviously a very big game, that Western Conference Final, Jay. LA hosting Real Salt Lake Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and TSN2. You can catch a live chat here on MLSsoccer.com. Two very good teams, two rivals. They've had some history before.
Yeah, these teams, of course, met in the final in 2009. Real Salt Lake, MLS Cup champions, winning in a shootout. I'm sure Landon Donovan wants to exercise the ghosts of that game, missing the penalty kick there, and do something in this game to spark his team, get them to MLS Cup, which, of course, is at the Home Depot Center.
Should be a very good one on Sunday night. There's going to be another good one in the Eastern Conference Final. It's going to involve the Houston Dynamo, a big win over the Philadelphia Union, 1-0 in the final game at Robertson Stadium. They knock off the Union 3-1 on aggregate.
And again, it was a set piece. Brian Ching scores the first goal ever at Robertson Stadium. Now he scores the last goal.
And our Simon Borg was there for a historic night down in Houston.
Hello everyone, Simon Borg here, Robertson Stadium in Houston, Texas, where the Houston Dynamo defeated the Philadelphia Union 1-0 and take the series 3-1 on aggregate to move on to the Eastern Conference Championship game against Sporting Kansas City. They did it again using a free kick, a set piece. Brad Davis in added time of the first half, finding Brian Ching with the header, but there was a lot of controversy around this goal on two fronts. First, Carlos Valdez after the game saying the foul that was awarded was not a foul. It shouldn't have been called, and Peter Novak criticizing the referee for not bringing an end to the first half. Added time had already expired is what he argued. Houston controlled it the rest of the way. They go to Livestrong Sporting Park to face Kansas City for a trip to MLS Cup.
Well, the Eastern Conference Final again, Sunday night, 5:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox Soccer. There's a live chat right here on MLSsoccer.com. And Jay, for the Houston Dynamo going to Livestrong Sporting Park, should be a very good game.
Yeah, Livestrong has been a phenomenal home field advantage for Sporting Kansas City this season. The interesting thing about this matchup is both of these teams have scored a lot of goals through the playoffs so far on set pieces, so that will definitely be something to watch as these teams try to make it to MLS Cup.
Well, El Jimador is trying to get you to the MLS Cup November 20th out at the Home Depot Center. Go to their Facebook page at facebook.com/El Jimador. Click on the Your Rules, Your Shot tab and come up with your rule for the 100% real soccer fan. Jason, what's your rule for the day?
My rule for the day, I guess, real soccer fans, download Extra Time Radio and listen to us twice a week, each week.
Well, we'll have the newest edition on Friday, and one of the topics we're going to discuss along with the MLS playoffs is the U.S. roster for those upcoming friendlies in Europe against France and Slovenia. We got the roster yesterday, Jay. Not a ton of surprises, a lot of MLS guys. What'd you think?
Yeah, the same MLS guys that we've been seeing a lot of. Breck Shea, Landon Donovan, Kyle Beckerman has really been, you know, a guy who's made his name on this team for Jurgen Klinsmann. The interesting thing, of course, Landon Donovan, Kyle Beckerman going at it in the Western Conference Final. Whichever one of them advances will actually only be playing in the first game next week. They'll have to come back, obviously, to prepare for MLS Cup.
Well, we'll be talking about that, and we'll also be talking about the new head coach for the Chicago Fire. Not a big surprise here, Frank Klopas, taking that interim tag off. He's going to be the head coach in 2012. This is a guy, Jason, who really sweats and bleeds for this franchise. The first Fire player ever named head coach of the organization.
Yeah, and remember the run that he took this team on. They struggled early in the season. Second half of the season, they were much better. And a lot of the players really gave him credit for it, saying, you know, he's a player's coach. They really got behind him. So it'll be good for their locker room. He'll have a full season to try to make things right next year.
Well, you can find that story on MLSsoccer.com, as well as all the latest headlines and the highlights from those big conference semifinal games from Friday night.